So Congresswoman Dingell, you and I have spoken several times over these past recent days. I guess there's got to be a part of you who knew this was possible, because I remember the last time we spoke, you said you were nauseously optimistic, and that was after going across the state. Now you know what you know, and obviously we have not yet made a formal call. What are you thinking about what happened in Michigan?
So I'm not surprised, Erin, like many others are. The fact of the matter is that I continued to tell all of you for months that this state was tight. It was going to be close. It may be a little bigger than I thought that it was going to be, but I knew what it was coming down to, so it's not unexpected for me. So I think I'm going to be very blunt. As Democrats, we got to do some soul searching. We're getting a message from a lot of people that we're not hearing them, and I hope we take the time to do the soul searching we have to do.
Well, I think a lot of people have to appreciate your honesty and your bluntness on this. Can I ask you about a couple of those groups, Congresswoman? First, let's just talk about women. We're two women having this conversation. Harris did worse with women than Biden did with women, and then Hillary Clinton did with women. That is just something, I mean, maybe you saw it. I don't know anybody who saw that. I don't know anyone in the Trump campaign who saw that. How do you explain that?
So in Michigan, we had a ballot proposal on choice 2 years ago. So it wasn't the first and forefront issue that it was, say, 2 years ago on our ballot. But you know me, I talk to everybody. That's how I get a gut. I went into the eye doctor on Monday morning and saw, a mid-50s African-American woman. And I said, "Have you voted?" And she said, "No." And I said, "Do you have a plan?" And she said, "No, I haven't decided who to vote for." And so it doesn't surprise me. If people listen to real people and talk to them about what the issues are, the economy was a big issue. And look, I don't think giving billionaire tax cuts is exactly the way to solve it, but I'm going to work. We have to respect the integrity of the electoral system, and now we're going to have to work with a new president for the next 4 years and learn what we weren't hearing and why we lost.
Well, I mean, look, that's humility. I also think it's important for people to hear. You'll work with them, right? That you will, that this is the way this country works. And I know it can't be easy for some to hear and maybe even to say, but it is so important. Can I ask you about something else, Congresswoman? Because you and I spoke a couple times in recent days, right? And both times you talked about Jill Stein. And you talked about how significant it was. And in fact, in one of the interviews, I knew coming in that you really wanted to bring it up because you were concerned. You wanted to send the message to the Arab American community, particularly in Dearborn, that voting for Jill Stein was a vote for Donald Trump, of course, who is a very clear Israel supporter. So the numbers for Dearborn come in. Trump wins by 42%, Harris at 36%. Jill Stein got 18% of the vote in Dearborn, Michigan. 18% of the vote. This isn't 2 or 3. It's not on the margin where it was possibly polling. It's 18%. What do you think about that?
I think that the community is trying to send a message. Look, I want to say to you that what is going on in the Mideast is tearing people apart, and it's particularly hard in Michigan. People are raw and hurting on both sides. And quite frankly, I get killed by both sides. I get protested. I have threats. But I listen to them. I talk to them. And a lot of people are unwilling to just put themselves out there and listen and understand what their hurt is and what they're saying. And I quite frankly think the fear of people on all sides being willing to talk to them is what resulted in Jill Stein getting support. People are angry. They've lost family members. By the way, both sides. Here in Michigan, I feel like the war in the Mideast has come to Michigan. And even people inside the Democratic Party are at each other's throats. It's not good.
When you talk about looking at how you're going to have to work across the aisle, you could be looking at a Republican White House. Obviously, we know that. A Republican Senate, we know that. Could be a Republican House as well. So how do you navigate within that as what you say is a pragmatic, Democratic elected congressperson? How do you deal when they have a full sweep?
Look, I have relationships on the other side of that. Look, I'm going to always stand up for what I believe, and when I think something's wrong, I'm going to be respectful and tough and tense. But I'll also say I agreed with Donald Trump that we needed to redo NAFTA, and by the way, that's why I thought he won in 2016. Bob Lighthouser, I worked with a lot. I think he's a smart man. He's going to be part of this administration. So there are some things that I support that he does, and you've got to do that. And if you disagree, I'm going to stand up strong. And what I really want is all the vitriolicness, the ugliness, the threats, the violence, the pitting us against each other to please stop. We are strong in this country as the United States of America. And my biggest problem with the former president, about to be president again, is the way that he pits each other, all of us against each other at times with his rhetoric. And if I were to ask or pray for anything, it's that we all dial it down and find ways to disagree in a civil manner and stop this vitriolicness that is really going to cost the country far too much.
All right, well, Congresswoman Dingell, I appreciate your time and your thoughts as always, and thanks for joining me on this post-election war.